Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to Big League Chicago. I'm Rick here with Jack, Jose, and Eric for the first time. We're missing one. We're missing one guy. We're missing John right now, but almost the entire Star Six Media crew joining for the first time ever on Big League Chicago. We've got a great episode, and obviously brought to you by Star Six Media, the brand new name of our collective. So just want to thank you guys for joining us. We got a packed show for you today. First off, what we're gonna do, we're gonna do Bears breakdown. Not the happiest of segments at all. Then we're gonna go into the C Red segment. Talk a little bit about the Bulls' upcoming season. 22-23 season is upon us. Then we're gonna move on to onto Hawks talk, and then we're gonna finish it off with 4 stars of the week. Let's start off with Bears breakdown, boys. What a fucking loss. This was a game that should have been easily won. I don't want to say easily won, but should have at least been won by the Bears. And they shit the bed, man. I don't know what else to say other than that. I don't know. Who wants to start it off? Who wants to start off the bashing right now?
We'll let the optimistic Eric go first.
Yeah, for real. Because for those who don't know, right, this is our first collective episode together. For those who don't know, Eric came into the season not to bash our boy Eric. We love Eric, but
no, you guys don't. Shut up. Don't lie to everybody out here. This show is about integrity and our smart analysis.
Exactly. This is why I'm calling you out, because you came in saying they were going to win 11 games. 11 games. Where
10.
did you get that from, bro?
10. I said 10.
Did you say 10 or 11?
I said 10. I said 11 at first, and then I changed my mind, and I'm like, all right, 10.
I thought he did say 10.
11. I think 11 was a little bit too much of a stretch.
We got some episodes where he said 11, but it's okay. It's okay.
I did. I really did. No, you know what, guys? How should I put this nicely? Because nothing is nice, right? Nothing is good. Nothing has been great other than the 2 close wins that we got. That and the opportunity of being in first place, all that good stuff, whatever the case may be, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just bad. Like, I feel sometimes like we play to the level of the competition, but then I realized, like, okay, now seeing these guys in person, we're real NFL teams, real NFL players instead of the preseason. It's kind of like, I don't understand what's missing. I don't know if it's the disconnect between quarterback and offensive coordinator simply because it's a new system, new year. I don't know if it's the misconnection between the players. I mean, he still has Komet and Mooney. I just don't know. We do know that the running game is like solid as hell, right? It's just like one of the best in the league.
That's the only thing that I think, in my opinion, is probably the most solid thing. I think I remember telling Jack a couple episodes ago, the Bears are stuck in 1980. The only consistent things they do right now are running the ball and defense. Most games now, not defense all the time, but most games. Like, they are stuck in that mentality where defense is going to win us games, and we have to establish the run game. But fuck the quarterback and the wide receivers. That's whatever, right? So I don't know. My biggest thing in this game, and it showed, like, it was just such a glaring problem, and it was coming into the season, at least in my opinion, and I continue to say this, is that offensive line is absolute trash. It is absolute trash. Tevin Jenkins is the best lineman we have. It's his second year, and this is after a injury-ridden rookie year, right? Larry Borum is probably the second best one we have, because Lucas Patrick has given up a lot of pressures, especially in that game, in that Thursday night football game against the Washington Commanders. So I think those two, like that, the offensive line, I mean, is the biggest glaring issue right now. And don't get me wrong, the wide receivers are a close second, because when you have Dante Pettis leading in receptions instead of Mooney, or at least in yardage, not receptions, in yardage and touchdowns, that's an issue.
It's, as you bring that up, I mean, it felt like we kind of were seeing Darnell come out of his shadow from the start of this season, the last 2 weeks. And then again, he just falls silent. And, on this one, he had 12 targets, I believe, and 68 yards. So a little bit better performance from him. But it was interesting enough. Like you said, Pettis leading the charge for this team. Yes, I mean, he had a 40 long, longest reception being 40 yards. Positives, I guess. Fields looks confident and looks like a great runner when he has the ball. But the passing game is not coming together. The defense is being relied on too much, and thankfully they have 12 points. You allow 12 points, you should win that football game, and it's just not the case with this offense. I don't know. As we'll talk about later in this segment, there's things that you could be asking about this future quarterback of Justin Fields. There's things you could be asking about just kind of what's around him in terms of the offense. You're going to get solid play from Herbert and Montgomery. You'd like to see Kmet finally step into that role that they drafted him to be, as this is kind of a make or break year for him, as we've been saying. But as you said, I mean, he's getting piss poor protection, and it is hard to be successful when you're not protected, but he does hang on to the ball for way too long, and it ends up being a bigger issue than not.
Absolutely, it does. But Eric, you said you don't know what's going on. I know what's going on. I think we all know what's going on. The only reason this team is the way it is because Ryan Poles did nothing in the offseason to improve it.
Yep.
He came in saying he wanted to evaluate the entire roster. Well, how are you evaluating your quarterback who's supposed to be your franchise quarterback if you're not surrounding him with guys who are going to protect him? Oh, I want to see how tough he is. Is that what you're doing? Is that your evaluation? Because you're seeing it. But at what cost? Like, what are we going to see this year? Is this going to be a Cincinnati Bengals first year with Joe Burrow, where he gets torn ACL and his season's over? Like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like, you look at this offensive line and what we're rolling out with here. Half these guys weren't even drafted. You know what I mean? It's like, what is going on? Like, how are you evaluating a quarterback when you have nobody to throw for him to throw to, or at least that can get open?
You hit it on the head, man. Like this, I think Fields got sacked 5 times for like 60 plus yards. And if you want to evaluate his toughness, this is a great way to do it. Don't put an offensive line behind him or in front of him and see if he gets up after every sack, right? Like, I think the toughness factor for Fields has been met. And I've got to say, like, one of the that to me shows a lot from Field. It shows to me, and I think I said it on one of my rants that I posted on the Star 6 Media Instagram, that after all that, to get up and to lead, to do a 40 plus run there at the end of the game, to lose it, but he almost had it, right? He almost had the touchdown. That to me means he's the guy for Chicago. To me, he is the guy in Chicago as quarterback. John's going, why are fans barely complaining about the O-line? We haven't had one in years. That's exactly right. Like, that is exactly right. But to me, Justin Fields is the guy. I know there's been some speculation, and Jose, I'll let you get into that a little bit more, but to me, Justin Fields is the guy.
I want him to be the guy too. I do. But I see and I thought it's all on Ryan Poles. Everything, this team is the way it is this year because of Ryan Poles, and I'm going to put that first and foremost. I don't want to put too much blame on Justin, because you're right. You hit it right on the head, Rick. What he's able to do when he does have some time, you see those flashes of a quarterback that we want here in Chicago. But then you see that missed easy throw to Griffin in the end zone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, what is that? Like, what is that, bro? Like, come on. A flick, just like a lob to him. You know what I mean? Something my 12-year-old son can do. Just
everybody does it in the NFL. Chill. They relax. Every quarterback does it every once in a while. I get that. But you need it. It's a missed opportunity. I get that. But everybody does it in the NFL. Even Aaron Rodgers, he had plenty of those on Sunday. Even Tom Brady had one or two of those on Sunday. Man, every NFL quarterback. Don't give me just because it's looking bad. Now we're starting to nitpick to like, the one opportunity. I get it. But every NFL quarterback, from the greats to even the worst people, and Jamarcus Russell, miss those plays every once in a while.
And I will say too, like it's tough for this is the thing. He missed it because he's like, I can't believe a wide receiver is that open.
Yeah, you're
They're
right.
never this wide open
right.
for me when
You're
they're
right.
in, you know what I mean?
Foreign
Um,
territory. You know what I mean?
in scoring territory, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean that's probably
Well,
what was running through his mind.
I like John's comment. I mean, it could become another RG3 situation where they just can't keep him healthy. You did see him coming up and wincing in pain several times throughout some hits during Thursday's game. I don't know. I think like we've been talking about, his lack of being able to see downfield is really what's the biggest concerning red flag for me right now. If that can improve, and I guess, yes, you can say development will happen, but I don't know. I mean, if he's not checking and looking at all of his looks throughout the field, and he's only concerned about checkdowns, I don't know. I mean, for a guy who was throwing the ball deep at Ohio State and having all the time in the world and all the guys in the world to catch the ball, as he had, I think, 3 first-round wide receivers in that draft.
But the RG3 situation was because RG3 was more of a runner. So that was basically more the Redskins adapting to his style of play.
Yeah.
Oh,
This one could be, and see, this is the one thing, Ryan. This is the one thing Ryan Post cannot let happen, and that's Justin Fields going down in injury for several weeks or maybe even throughout the whole season, because he's going to be public enemy number one from the moment he gets hurt until, let's say, if it's the rest of the season, until preseason of next year, right? In the draft, what you're going to do. Everybody's going to look at him like, you left this guy hung out to dry. Yep. You didn't do anything. You should be ashamed of yourself, blah, blah, blah. The questions will start coming about Ryan Post and his development or not development, but his talent evaluation on the players that he's getting for the Bears. Plus, I don't think I see it right here. Tony and I said on Facebook, so shout out to the Bears for ruining my Thursday instead of Sunday. So
it made Sunday a little bit more enjoyable, to be completely honest. We got that heartbreak over. I was able to just kind of watch as you were talking pre-show. You got fantasy lineup matchups on the line, and it was kind of, you were able to watch and enjoy the games of Sunday a little bit more. And after that Saturday night thriller in Tennessee, it was, I think that game was able to pick me up in terms of the Bears loss. For any of you guys that watched that.
Yeah,
that's the only football game I watched.
To reel her back in on the Chicago focus, I don't know. I get what you're saying. I think Fields is going to be more obligated to start running because he's able to extend the plays and he's finding his success in the running game. So I'm a little bit more. I understand what you're saying, that RG3 was more of the runner, but I don't know. We'll see. I would love to see some more development, but I'm getting less and less attached by the day.
To Fields?
Yeah.
Really? And see, I don't know where, I mean, believe me, there are things that are going wrong on both ends. Fields is not hitting his open receivers, like you said, and yet somehow, like, there are times when he's hit Mooney for like that 30-40 yard gain. He hit Pettis for that touchdown that was like perfectly placed for Pettis, right? And so you have these flashes, and I think for Bears quarterbacks, at least ones they draft, it's always like, oh, there's the flash of greatness right there, that he could be who he, and he does hold on to the ball a lot. He holds on to the ball, I think, the longest by any quarterback in the league today, right? But he's also getting pressured the most. And he's also got the very sus wide receiver room. And I guess I'm just kind of circling back around. And this is one of the reasons why I don't think that we should necessarily give up on Fields yet. Just because all those things haven't been improved around him. And Poles has a big issue, is to blame for this, obviously, like Jose said. So I don't know. I just don't want to keep watching this Bears team losing to the fucking Commanders by a score of 12-7. You know what I mean? Like, and for them to get in the red zone so many times and just not score, it's like, what's going on here? You know?
And I think that's what like is what's turning us off, Jack, with Justin Fields sometimes, because we see him struggling, so it's easy to kind of blame him because he's the one, making those throws or, holding the ball too long. But to Eric's point, it really isn't his fault, to what also Rick was saying too, because how can he put any other quarterback with this same team, with the same offensive line and same wide receivers and And do you expect them to succeed? I don't know if I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would. Like, put Tom Brady back there, for example. He will get hurt. He will get hurt.
He'd be dead. Not only would he be divorced, he'd be dead.
Exactly.
Damn.
You know, he would get hurt. And I was like, damn, we wouldn't see him, man.
Well, and to what John, who's been in the live chat, said earlier, I think this team, he said the team's a long way from a rebuild. At this point in time, absolutely. I think you go spend some money that they've saved up on some of these free agent linemen. Couldn't tell you who they are at this point. And you actually spend your first round pick on a lineman. And I know that's painful for some people to think, but you could revamp this line quicker than they have. And I mean, like we've really said, I mean, we haven't seen an O-line in this, at least in my lifetime, that's been something that we can be confident in. I don't know. I get what you're saying. I understand. I'll cool the brakes for a little bit, but it's frustrating to see that, El Carbs has been saying in the chat, yes, there are some occasions where he is holding onto the ball, and yes, the receivers aren't catching it, but you got to trust that they're either catch it or going to draw a flag. You're starting to see them kind of use that to their advantage, but I don't know. I'd like to see longer passes. His interception numbers are low. His fumble numbers are up. But yeah, I mean, it does all start with protection and giving him some time to breathe.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing I don't want to see, and that's Amir Smith Marset on the fucking field ever again.
Thank God.
I am so tired of him. He got an end around handoff for negative 1 yard. If you guys are following the story on Instagram, you saw me go absolutely just mental for him being on the field. And the fact that they put him on the field for the fourth down and they pass it to him, bounce right off his chest. Yep. Why is he here right now? Why is he on this team? Cost us a 2-minute drill drive last week. And don't get me wrong, the fourth down pass probably wouldn't have gone for the first down, but I mean, the fact that he didn't catch it, we'll just never know, right? So I don't know. That's the one guy I don't want to see anymore on the field.
See, I almost feel the same way about Velus Jones though, with that muff punt. Like, how the
yes,
fuck are you
I
doing
agree with
again,
that. I agree with that.
Like, how are you doing that again?
And
first game of the season, I get it. It's first day jitters. You know what I mean? It's your first game, NFL game period. Go okay, but this time again, 2 games later, it's like, come on.
Well, and to you said, I mean, the guy was a return specialist and a speedy receiver in college, and this is what we've seen 2 games in a row. So I don't know. I mean, red flags a little bit. He is an older guy coming out of college. He's already 25, so the ticking time clock on him is a little bit quicker than some of these guys that are 22 and younger. So I don't know. I do think the Velus Jones Jr. flag is being prepared. Let's say we're not waving it quite yet, but I'm glad you brought that up.
What else? I was going to bring something else up. And this is almost to be expected, but Robert Quinn has been completely absent almost this entire year. I would say so. I mean, the best guy we have is Roquan Smith. Eddie Jackson, his head is number of plays, a couple interceptions already, 2 or 3, I think, for the year. But this secondary wise has been pretty good. I mean, just the pressure up front has been a little lacking. We had, I think, Justin Jones and one of the rookies, I forget his name, have stellar games in the beginning first 3 games of the season, but they've been kind of absent so far. So the defense definitely also has its things to improve. But when you hold the Commanders to 12 points, you would expect your offense to kind of pick it up and at least score 2 touchdowns. And I don't know. Do you guys see any problems with the defense, or is this team more just lacking on the offensive side?
No, it's definitely the offensive side of the ball, man. I mean, the defense could do whatever. The defense could only do so much, right? And I feel like this is the same conversation I guess we've been having for the last 20 some odd years, us growing up and now into the early 2020s and 2010s and whatnot. That it's always the defense that keeps us in the game. That's the one thing that the Bears are known for, and it's just continuously for the last 20 years is running the game, great defense, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just the lack of offense, man. You can see, I mean, we get it. There's no pressure up front because you double Robert Quinn. Everybody else has to step up a little bit. Nobody does the job. You see Roquan Smith once again leading the team in tackles simply because they're getting into the second level. And then Roquan Smith, he's a dog. He'll go side to side too as well. He'll catch up to those running backs, wide receivers, and go side to side, east and west, and still go for the tackles. The secondary will get those numbers simply because they're getting tested from also that second level and getting those tackles. Plus, I mean, Jalen Johnson is finally coming back a little bit. You can tell he's slowing down, but he makes a significant impact in the secondary. And
huge impact.
And Eddie Jackson, he finally has another safety with him that can play in
Brisker.
It just is like the defense will always be no matter what rebuild or no matter how close you are to being great, the defense will always be a step or two ahead of the offense in any team because it's easier that way. And especially when your head coach is a defensive coordinator by heart or defensive player or a defensive coordinator by heart, obviously it's going to improve way more quicker than the offense.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Isn't that the issue? Is that we're always good defensively? That we're never good offensively? That's always been our issue, though.
Well, the thing about that, though, is like
if that got us, Eric, one championship in 1985. Thank you. I was born yet. Like, what the hell does that do with me? I don't want to see that. We're in an offensive-minded league. Look at the juggernauts. Look at the Bills, the Chiefs, the Eagles.
Okay, but now you're going with familiarity. How long has Patrick Mahomes been with Andy Reid? How long has Josh Allen been with the Bills? Obviously, he lost Dayball, but Dayball was a big reason why Josh Allen is the way he is today. Jalen Hurts, I think it's a perfect example that you brought him up in Philadelphia, simply because it's his second year with the same offense, with the same, the same call letters, the same everything, same offense. Like that's a huge difference when you're coming off of 1 year, your first year in the offensive coordinator with a new guy. And we got your second year. Plus, on top of that, you got a number one wide receiver in AJ Brown. You got a decent tight end, and you have a decent running game in Miles Sanders, and you have also what's his name, the guy that you drafted last year.
Right, but that's you made my point. They needed to upgrade that offense in order for them to be this good.
Right, and even if they did upgrade this offense, do you still think it would be a little bit better with this play calling that's been a little suspect at the most?
Maybe, but regardless, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say Getsy has been making some like meh play calling too, and I think a lot of it is like what we've also struggled with quarterbacks is like we don't apply their strengths, their talents to the team. Instead, we try to force the system on these quarterbacks. I've been hearing it for like the past season and a half with Justin Fields. Why are we not rolling out with him RPOs? More play action, right? Because he throws great out of the pocket. Inside the pocket, we've seen the pressures. We've seen him get sacked 5 times for 60 plus yards and then get hurt on almost every single sack and just hope that he gets up and he's fine, which he has, luckily, right? He's 23 years old.
Slowly. He's been the last 2 times been slowly. He's been a couple times where he's like, fuck.
Yeah. So the play calling has been kind of sus too with Getsy, and I guess to Getsy, he was more of a quarterbacks coach with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, and Nathaniel Hackett went to Denver. He was the OC at the time, but Getsy, his first time, calling plays, not great so far, but I mean better than Nagy or whoever it was literally last year. I don't remember.
Oh, definitely better than Nagy.
Yeah, for real, who was the caller last
Bill
year?
Is Laser.
Bill Laser, yes.
Laser,
yes,
yeah.
Bill Laser. You see how quickly we end up forgetting the bad stuff. Like all we know is Nagy, and then we just forget everybody else. Plus, I mean,
that's why, because we're replacing bad with more bad. So it's like, how can we focus
on that? I don't think it's even more bad. I think it's just an adjustment period, man. It's part of it. It's part of the game. It's an adjustment period for everybody. It's only looking bad simply because it's just not producing the way that people say, well, in practice we look good, but it doesn't transition over to the game. It's just like,
it's bad because
who do you want to believe it at that point?
Yeah.
the team has no talent. It's bad. It's just bad. It'll be better next year. I have no doubt because I don't think it can get any worse, right? But it'll get better. And with the amount of cap space that they're going to have, and with the way we're going, we're going to have a high draft pick. I mean, I don't
100 milli.
I don't see us not having a top 10 draft pick. You know what I mean? So we're going to get some players in without a doubt. But it's bad.
If the season ended today, the Bears would have the 10th pick. So it's kind of like there's worse temes out there than the Chicago Bears.
Bears only look good on TikTok, according to John.
Yep. Facts.
We might need
them on TikTok.
No, dude, I didn't even know they had a TikTok. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just that old man that follows them on Instagram and fucking Twitter. So, all right. So looking ahead, they are on another primetime game. Who knows why? I don't know either. But
Chicago.
also, I was gonna say, but also the Broncos are on like every primetime game this year, and we've seen how that's gone for them. So looking ahead to the Patriots, they're gonna be at New England on Monday Night Football. I want to get some predictions from you guys. Bailey Zappi apparently is the guy now in New England. It's no longer Mac Jones, apparently. I don't know. He's been doing really well. He's almost the Cooper Rush of the Patriots. But I want to hear some predictions at New England for Monday Night Football and the Bears. I will start with Eric. Who you got?
Yeah, 10-7.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one because we've seen the Patriots. They blown out the Lions, the number one offensive team in the league at that time. They won over the weekend. Thanks to Zappy, he won me one of my fantasy football leagues because I actually got him last minute.
There you go.
I mean, he's a game manager with a very stout defense. I mean, that's what you get from the Patriots, right? Game managing and a stout defense, and then being at prime time in New England. I don't see this one looking good for the Bears at all. I think what 30 burger maybe from the Patriots on the Bears.
Oh wow,
30 burger.
Yeah.
Who's coaching our team? Mark Trestman? What's going on here?
Yeah. No, it's Bill Belichick, guys. I mean, what else? What else you want? Bill Belichick. He's a goat. He's the guy. He's the one that makes Brian Hoyer and Jacoby Brissett, Jimmy Garoppolo. Who else am I missing? Matt Castle. Who else am I missing?
Bailey Zappi.
Outside of Cam Newton, but I think that was just an anomaly. He makes Mac Jones look pretty decent too as well. Like this guy can make any quarterback from any round in any division to just play a great quarterback and just be smart.
And gets them paid the following off season. So they're like, yeah, I want to go play. I want to go be a backup in New England. Hell yeah,
for sure. For sure.
I almost want to agree with you because it is Bill Belichick in prime time, but the Bears defense is I think is way better than 30 points. I think they get up there in the 20s, but maybe like 24 points. And I'm thinking the Bears. I don't know. I keep hoping for the best for Fields, but if this line continues to suck the way it's been sucking, I'm thinking the Patriots put up 24 and the Bears barely get to like 17 points. And I'm talking like garbage time, like they're down 24-10 in the fourth quarter and they get a touchdown in the fourth quarter to make it a lookable, passable game. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I think the Patriots definitely are the better team at home on Monday night. It really isn't too much of a guess, but when you look at this NFL season as a whole, and even the Bears, really, like a lot of these games have been surprises. So I'm still taking the Patriots 24-17. I hope, as I take them for a loss, they surprise me like they did in San Francisco and get a win instead. But that's what I'm going.
That wasn't surprising at all. I don't know why people think that San Francisco 49er game was surprising. It wasn't.
I guess just going into it when nobody was expecting a typhoon, and like that definitely helped us out quite a bit.
That's true.
Yeah. So
now even with good weather, I still wouldn't trust Trey Lance. At all.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. Well, I don't know. I think going into it was like, all right, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, these two guys are gonna like finally step it up, even in game one. But we saw what happened there. So, yep, I'm going 24-17 Patriots on Monday Night Football. Jose, what are you thinking?
Well, believe it or not, the Patriots are only averaging 23.5 points per game. Okay. So they're not offensively great. You know what I mean? They're the 12th in the league. They're not special. 23.5 points a game. Bears are, of course, 15, not even 16 points a game. It's pathetic. But defensively, both these teams are not far away from each other. They're both allowing about 18, 19 points per game. So this could be a lot closer than we think. I said the same thing. I said the exact same thing for the Bears-Vikings game, and that game was close. It was a winnable game for the Bears. It really was. I could see something similar here. I obviously have the Patriots winning because I trust Bill Belichick way more than I trust anybody. And it's not to knock Matt Eberflus. I like Matt Eberflus. I actually like Matt Eberflus. It's just Bill Belichick is Bill Belichick, and I'm sorry, but the experience is there. So I'm going to say 24-17. I'm saying 24-17 Patriots.
Carbs, nice. 14-10 carbs. Okay, that's very low scoring.
Yeah. But at the same time I can believe that. Like that isn't too far off.
Same.
Yeah. Jack, last one. What do you think?
Bears are going to muster up 3 field goals, score a total of 9 points.
Oh my God!
We're going to see the Patriots in this one at least 28-9.
Wow!
Had we went for field goals this last game, we would have won.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There's some truth to that.
Isn't that sad? Isn't that sad?
If instead of going for it in fourth down, if we would have just kicked field goals like we should have, we would have won by 1 point.
Okay, so that actually brings up a good point for me. In those situations, coming away with 3 points when like we have to get Justin Fields going, we need this red zone offense to muster up touchdowns instead of field goals. Like I feel like at that point, we as Bears fans aren't happy with any situation. Do we go for it on fourth down? Okay, don't make it. Okay, we should have gone for 3. Do we go for 3? Why didn't we go for it on 4th and 1?
Yeah.
And try to run it with Herbert or Montgomery. I don't think at that point it's we can win or the Bears could win anything from fans. At that point, it's like until you score a touchdown in the red zone, I don't think we're getting anything from the fans. I don't know what you guys think.
I just think they're just allergic once they're inside to the 20 in that red zone, man. Like it's just weird how they could do almost everything and anything, from their own 1 sometimes. And then once they get to the opponent's 20, it's just like everybody just brain farts. Like everybody just like I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what it is. Like Luke Getsy forgets to make a play call right. He gets the wrong play. Like I don't mind them going if it's 4th and 1 or 4th and goal, like, and they want to score the touchdown, analytics this, analytics that. That's fine, whatever. I'm cool with it. I'm the guy that says just go for the points. It's guaranteed. But sometimes you need to convert field goals into touchdowns, and especially when you're in the 20s. I personally don't have a problem, but you could tell last week that why don't you run the ball? Well, they ran the ball and they got stuffed. Or why don't you go for it? They go for it. They get stuffed. It's kind of like, okay, it's like the 6 points you toss away, cool. You gamble on it. That's the way how football is. But I mean, I'm the guy that says get the guaranteed points. If it's 3, it's 3. If it's 6, get 6. But just get points. The whole point of the NFL is you have to outscore the opponent to win.
And that's kind of where I land too. Like just outscore them. Like, but it also has to be like so frustrating to go all the way down. Like you said, hey, let's start at our 1, get to their 1 and come away with a field goal. Like that's gotta be so frustrating.
It definitely is.
What Corey said, Jose, after what I've seen from Fields lately, I'm starting to understand what you see.
CP,
Jack,
what up, CP?
Jack, what are you thinking about the red zone offense right now?
It's like the rest of the offense, just non-existent.
Yeah, you got him scoring 9 points there too.
I got him scoring 9 points. It's plain and simple. Even if 7 points and a safety, that's all you're seeing from this offense.
That would actually be very impressive if they could get 7 points and a safety.
I would take that.
All right.
In fantasy football, like that would guarantee you to get plus points no matter if you get scored over 35 points on the team, to be honest with you. So it's like,
right.
It just, an interception here, get a safety there, you're already guaranteed an extra 10 points right there. It's just weird. Like, I think it's the way that we're feeling. We should be more excited, but everybody's just like blah. We're just tired of seeing the same old blah, right? Santos is our best offensive player after Fields.
Before Fields.
Hell, wasn't it? What's his name? Moneybags a couple weeks ago when Santos was out. He was legit the only offense.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of like, and it's frustrating in a way because it's kind of like, guys, like inside the red zone. I get everything gets a lot smaller, but like you should at least. You guys practice at least a few games, a few plays here and there. Like for it to not to work, guys, it's lack of execution from everybody, from Getsy on down to the last player that barely gets any shtick in the red zone, man. It's weird. It's weird.
So, and then another question that comes with that too is like Khalil Herbert versus David Montgomery. A lot of talk throughout the preseason coming into this year, and I think we've almost seen it too in gameplay. Khalil Herbert seems to be a lot more fit for this offensive scheme than Montgomery. Montgomery runs hard. He breaks tackles. He gets those first downs. Khalil Herbert, I feel like, is the one that breaks those tackles, though, to get those 30, 40, 50, 60-yard runs. You know what I mean? Like, so if we're in the red zone, are you giving it to Montgomery or are you giving it to Herbert?
That's an easy answer. It's Montgomery all day. Like, I get it. Herbert is swifty. Herbert is fast. He got that one play where he lost yards and then he ended up all the way down to like, what was it, the 15 or something like that. And that's where we got
inside
stuff.
The 5. I think it was.
It's something like that. And I think David Montgomery. Once you're in there, once you're in the 20, once you're in the opponent's 30, it should be David Montgomery every single down. Like, I get it. I get you're trying to misdirect with the fastness of Khalil Herbert, but Montgomery has some wheels on him too. It's not top speed, but he has wheels. And not only that, he's a bruiser. So like you can see every time he gets hit, the defender bounces back. So like if you're inside your own 20 or their 20 or their 30, like use him. Like he's a 3 down back for a reason, and he's a bruiser on top of that. Plus, I know John said right here talking about trade Montgomery right now. Montgomery's on his last year. What would you give up for David Montgomery on his last year of the contract, knowing that he's going to leave your team, may leave your team the year after? You're probably only going to get like a 5th or 6th round pick, even though his value is that way high. But it's
better than giving nothing back.
Yeah, they're going to get nothing back.
Yeah.
But to go back, just use David Montgomery. And I'm not only saying it because I have him in 3 fantasy football leagues, whatever. That's beside the point. The point is like the way how David Montgomery runs helps your team not only tire out the defense for those drives or for being down there, but taking those hits gets them tired even further into the fourth quarter. If it's a close game, you're gonna see everybody battered and bruised, man. It's simple. It's a simple answer, and it's David Montgomery.
This says a lot about your fantasy.
I was gonna say, damn, we know who's a big Montgomery fan. Jesus,
hey, I'm like that. I'm like that with Chubb though. I keep telling.
I love Chubb though.
Kyle over on Only Football, like, dude, the Browns should just run Chubb. Just run Chubb at all times, no matter what. But that's because I got him on my team.
I mean, I agree. I don't have Chubb on my team, but I agree. I'm a huge fan of Nick Chubb. But it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter who you run. I think both guys are great, and that's like the Bears rich people's problem. You know what I mean? Like that's the one. That's like that, and the defense is always. We know it's going to be there. Run game, defense, and our run game right now has always been solid since Matt Forte, and we just develop running backs like it's nothing. So it doesn't really matter as long as we get the points, as long as we get the yardage. I mean, we're what, second in rushing right now, I think, in the NFL still with our 2 running backs. So It doesn't really matter to me, man.
He's not the best running back on this team. Stop.
John.
Stop. No,
John going
no,
crazy
no,
in the chat right now.
no, definitely not. Definitely not. He's not the best running back on this team. He's an additional running back, but he's not the best running. Stop.
He's the third best one, John. The third best.
He's
running back.
definitely the third best one on this team. although I do like what CP said, Corey Parks, the Rams could use Montgomery. If you have David Montgomery on that Rams team, woo.
Christian McCaffrey's on the trade block. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, him too.
The Panthers are crazy.
Wow.
I mean, and look, and John said the Bills could use them. The Bills and Rams, two teams that don't have running backs. Like they have running backs, but they don't have a running game. You know what I mean? Like these two guys could definitely bolster an offense like that. But I mean,
I think more the Rams than the Bills.
Okay, yeah, I could see that too. Yeah, for sure. I mean, what's his name? Balled out yesterday too.
Singletary.
CP again, yeah. Running Bears always hit on running backs, but never on the QBs. Never on the QBs.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
You guys got any last thoughts on the Bears? I had them losing. I think Eric had them losing. I think Jose had them losing, and I think Jack had them losing Monday Night Football.
We all had them losing.
Yeah.
I mean, just make it interesting, right? I just want an interesting game from the Bears on prime time. I don't want to be the laughing joke. I mean, we've been the laughing joke within the last 20 years, anyways, on national TV. Outside of the Thanksgiving game of Cuddy, and I think that Sunday night game against the Vikings where Kirk Cousins says, they only put us on prime time because of us, not because of them. And then he got his ass beat.
Oh yeah.
And then he got his ass beat by the Bears defense and got a pick six from Eddie Jackson. But that's beyond the point. Point is, I just want a good game from the Bears. I finally want, hell, I could even take 3 good quarters instead of 4. Hell, I could even want 2. I don't care. Give me 2 good quarters. It could be the first and the fourth. I don't care. Just make it close, man. Just look somewhat okay.
Yeah.
That's all I want. Even if you lose, I don't give a shit. Just be competitive. That's all. That's what I have right here. Literally.
Just give me a
that's
good
literally what I have right there. That's all I
it.
want. Just all I want is a good performance, please. That's it.
I love it.
That's all.
And we'll see. I don't know. If the Bears can do something of a complete game, we'll see. Who's that? We got Bears win with an Eddie Jackson touchdown. Ooh, I like that.
Eric, have Red Zone close nearby or whatever's on the CBS, or actually no, we're on Monday night, so have something else ready for you. Corey, I like that you're on the field goal train. Stay strong. Yep. No, we'll be turning this one off early.
Did John really just said the Bears should have traded for Robbie Anderson? He really did say that. Oh,
the CP really bring Mike Lennon back? What the hell?
Welcome to our listener, guys.
You need to go back to Facebook jail for real. You need to get banned.
Long neck ass Mike Lennon.
You guys seen our main 2 people, and CP and Carbs. We love those guys a lot. They normally chime in a lot, and it's just it's funny. It's funny. This is coming from Jay Cutler, fan leader. Oh, yeah, that's John. John loves Jay Cutler, by the way, guys. If you guys didn't know.
Hey, I love Jay Cutler. It's
an interesting follow on Instagram these days. I think he started a meat company.
Yeah,
kind of an asshole, but
hey, look, there's only one picture of Jay Cutler that I liked throughout his whole Instagram, and that's the one he was butt ass naked. That's the only one that I liked so far of his on his Instagram.
Of course, that's the one, Eric, for you.
It's kind of like, all right, Jay, I see you free.
A little sus on the stream. All right, that was our take on the Bears this past week. We'll see how they go on Monday. We've got them all losing. The chat is going crazy. They want Mike Glennon back. They want Robbie Anderson in a sign of the Bears. Let's move on to something maybe a little more hopeful. Maybe not to Eric, but let's move on to the C-Red segment. Let's talk about the Bulls. Their season is starting Wednesday. They're going to Miami to play the Heat to begin their season. First 4 games set until we record again is going to be the Heat, at the Wizards, at home versus Cleveland and Boston. What are we thinking for this game though at Miami? Jose, you look like you want to talk some Bulls right now. What are we thinking for this first game?
I'm the big Bulls guy. Or at least they say I'm the Bulls fanboy, right? Or the big optimist here. But here's the thing. I'm excited because I actually see the Bulls getting better this season. I think they got better this season, 100%. Okay. They're a lot deeper coming in on the bench. I think Goran Dragic gives them great veteran presence alongside with Alex Caruso. They're gonna have some great chemistry in that second team. What's his name? Andre Drummond is going to be that defensive prowess that we've been needing, that rebounder. We can use him at the end of games next to Vucevic, who's going to be there because we're going to need his scoring, regardless of what Eric might think about him, right? He's been their offense, especially last season when they were struggling. Those playoffs against the Milwaukee Bucks, Vucevic was the guy. He was the guy scoring. When
he really was.
That was the man right there. So I think
I was gonna say, which is kind of sad when you had Zach LaVine on the team.
Exactly. It really is. But speaking of Zach, we get him back fully healthy. Paid man. Now there's no more questions looming. Is he gonna get paid? Is he gonna stay? No, like all that's behind him now. So just play. Play to we know you can be, and let's go. I'm excited for the Bulls this season. I really am.
I am too, and the fact that they named Ayo the starting point guard, obviously because Lonzo's out with injury still. You remember when he went out and it was 4 to 6 weeks? It's been like it's probably going to be more like 4 to 6 years, and he's just never going to play basketball again. So I like it. I like Ayo's energy. Obviously I think this is going to be a huge developmental year for Ayo. And the fact that he gets that starting role, I think should just help him, develop a little bit early. I don't want to say earlier, because I feel like when you say develop earlier, that almost has like a negative connotation on it. I think the development is going to be great for him, especially with the starting role. I'll say that. But Zach, I said this last week too, Zach needs to be the number one scoring option on the team for him to prove that this contract was worth it. And Jack was like, wow, I like that you're bringing the money in last week. That's one of the first things I said, but I mean, it's true, like he was a ghost the second half of the season. DeMar was really the number one scoring option. And then Vooch was the guy, -1 game from DeMar in those playoffs. So I think Zach really needs to step it up. I like Ayo at starting. Caruso is going to be there to kind of help him. And then, Patrick Williams, I think hopefully he gets that next step. We're hoping that he does to become the Paul, really, right? So we'll see. But I don't know. Andre Drummond, I don't know if him and Dragic, I don't know if those two were like the best pickups. You have some hope in them, but I don't know. What do you have to that comment there?
Well, the one thing, Jose, you're the only guy I know that will get excited about Goran Dragic. That's one thing I can't. First thing, I can't say the name for my life.
Goran Dragic.
I don't know. I like the confidence. I like the excitement. I hate to be the negative Nancy. I just think the conference got so much better around them.
It did,
and that's a really scary thought for this team. And you're relying on Vooch to score. You're not relying on Vooch to rebound the ball. And yes, he's been in most of the preseason games, I think, leading in rebounds for this team. I think you brought in Drummond to help you guys on the board, help the Bulls on the boards. But in reality, I mean, you just saw Milwaukee out bully this team. And I still have that concern with them this year.
I agree with you 100%. And the reason why I like Vooch so much is because of his scoring ability, right? He's not the rebound. He can rebound it because he's tall. Let's be honest. Anybody that lengthy can get a ball, right? But he's soft. We all know he's soft under the rim. He's a soft. He's soft. He's not what you want in your 4 or your 5 as far as strength. He's your stretch 4. He's someone like Dirk Nowitzki for me. I only want him to score. That's why I like to pair him up with someone stronger, someone bigger, like someone like Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond isn't the end-all, be-all. I would love somebody a lot better. But having someone that physical, that someone that big, at least as what I said to Eric and John before. I need a true center there to help Vooch. That way, Vooch could be that stretch 4. That's what you need him for. You know what I mean? That's his game. What the Bulls tried doing last season, having him play the 5 and be that big, strong guy. That was their wrong. That's why we suck defensively, because he's not him. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason why I like Drummond and hopefully Dragic. The only reason I like Dragic because he's a veteran who was going to help the young guys, Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, just like Alex Caruso, and I think he could be a good addition for sure.
I was gonna say, since the chat is talking about bringing people back, let's bring back Noah. Let's bring back Joakim Noah and be that guy to get the rebound.
Don't do this to me.
I wouldn't even take Omer Sheik. No, I'll take Nazi Mohammed. Remember?
I'll take Nazi. I'll
remember when he pushed LeBron?
I'll give him a 10-day.
No Ben Wallace.
No, but fuck it. Bring Ben Wallace. Bring Hall of Fame Ben Wallace back. Bring Detroit Pistons Ben Wallace back. See, even
Taj.
you got
do Taj. Oh yeah, Taj is a good one.
Yeah, Georgina with Taj, CP with Ronnie Brewer. Like, let's just bring back that entire Rose team.
CJ
and
Watson.
Fuck it, let's bring Rose too. Why not?
Keith Bogans.
Not Rose. Anybody but Rose.
Will Patrick Williams make a jump? I hope so. I really do hope so. What do you think of Patrick Williams, Jose? Do you think he makes this jump? Do you think he becomes kind of like that guy that is, I guess, doesn't take shit from anybody under the rim too?
Well, that's what I want to see. I want to see more of a leadership from Patrick Williams. The potential is there. We've seen it last season. We've seen the growth. I think this guy's only going to get better. He just needs to stay healthy. But what I want to start seeing is the leadership. I want to see that toughness from him. You know what I mean? I mean, you said it. I think you said it good yourself right now. The guy needs to be one of those nasty Taj Gibson type players.
Yeah,
come in, clean up. He's going to be physical with you and not take shit from anybody. That's what Patrick Williams needs to do. And if he does that, I could definitely think he takes that next step for real.
Eric, what do you think about Patrick Williams? I mean, he was hurt pretty much all of the last regular season, came back for the playoffs. Do you think he makes that next step? Do you think he becomes one of our guys?
I said it when we talked about this last week. I did say that Patrick Williams should be part of this offense to make whatever issues we have offensively kind of work a little bit, right? Kind of fix it just a tad. I did not say 30 and 15 CP. I really did not say that. That was not it. But at least the 15 is right. At least he should start scoring 15 points a game, probably, averaging close to a double-double, because we know Vooch can do it. Vooch can give you the 10, 11, 12 rebounds along with his, 15, 16 points a game. But just to like spread it out a little bit, Patrick Williams, we could see that he could put the ball on the floor and go to the rim and attack, and he has a decent shot, literally from 18. I see it in preseason. I see it in most of the games, especially last year. Obviously, it was against the Minnesota Timberwolves, but and summer leagues and stuff. This guy can, if you make him not the focal point, but make him the number one scoring. Or not the number one scorer, I'm sorry, the fourth scoring option in this team. And then if you still run him with the second squad and make him like the second, maybe even third possibility of scoring on this team, like he can do that for you. And that's what I want from Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams should probably be the only one in this Bull squad that should lead this team in minutes, simply because he was hurt the last 2 years, or his first 2 years, should I say. And if giving him that opportunity, you don't switch out any of the fours. Yeah, you give him a little break here and there for Jose's sake, if you want to do the Drum and Vucevic, at the 5 and the 4, then that's where you get Pat Will the break, and then you bring him on in and you switch it back around with Vooch and Pat Will. But to me, Pat Will is a significant part of this team offensively for them to fix it just a little bit until Lonzo Ball comes back.
Yeah,
this Bulls team, though, I do have question marks. In the NBA, unless if you have a star or two on your team, you can stay complacent and be okay. When you don't have that, you got to make moves. you got to make moves. You do to make the team better, and you could tell that they gotten worse, in my opinion, this year. Last year, Jose and I were talking about that the Bulls need to stay relevant. That the Bulls, that's the only thing about last year that we wanted, that the Bulls bring back the relevancy of Chicago Bulls basketball, just or Chicago basketball. Period. We got the sky for that now, but the Bulls in general, though, like, but the Bulls we really wanted relevancy back, and we got that literally up until Lonzo Ball got hurt. But
honestly, I was gonna say, and they played like 4 or 5, or no, they played like 10 games together last season, together. You know, before he went down. So that's just kind of like the thing that really, I think, tears Bulls Bulls fans' hearts out, is like they only were on the field or on the court for a handful of games out of the entire season. And what could have happened was, I don't know, it just could have been a much better season, maybe a lengthier playoff appearance. I mean, but you know, when you go up against the Bucks and Giannis, it's difficult to think that. What I do want to say though, Dalen Terry, our first round pick, I think number 15 overall or something like that. He is someone who has been talked about as being someone who's very up tempo, and I think the Bulls, and I don't, maybe not sometimes, but quite a bit. And the Bulls lack that whole like that entire just up tempo-ness, getting the defense to be like just weird. I don't want to say weird, but like, oh man, now we got to make a play because these guys are running up court really fast. And Dalen Terry is a guy that brings that. Jose, you know, what did you think of that Dalen Terry pick? And do you think like he might bring some of that into Chicago?
I love the Dalen Terry pick, and we've seen some flashes in preseason. Man, this guy is as advertised. You know, one thing, the one thing that gives me that the reason why I can sleep at night very peacefully as a Bulls fan is knowing I have AK, you know, Arturas Carcinovas and Eversley running the organization. These guys have yet to prove to me that they don't know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. You know what I mean? They brought in all the talent that we have in right now. And let's be honest, what else could they have done? You know what I mean? When there was really nobody out there for the taking, and we weren't going to give up the farm, you know, for anybody else. So it's like, I think they've done a great job constructing this team. And if you look at the draft picks, Ayo Dosunmu and now Dalen Terry, we have Patrick Williams. Like these are guys that seem to be great pieces going forward in the future. You know, Ayo Dosunmu is starting this season. Yes, because Lonzo Ball is out, but also credit to him because he's proven he can do such thing. You know what I mean? And starting. And for Dalen Terry, like I said, we've seen the flashes. I think we just need to see him develop a little bit more. We'll see if he even cracks the rotation and play. There's potential there, yes, but they know damn well this kid is raw. This kid's not ready to play. Let's get him in here because Giannis has come out saying that, you know, he's wanted to play for the Bulls. Why not? You know what I mean? Hey, you have your brother over here. You haven't won a championship with him yet. You know what I mean? Let's make it happen.
I like it. I like it. I would love to see Giannis into one of these on this team. I don't know. I would just like to see it. And hopefully he does bring him, you know, hopefully that is, like you said, leverage to bring him over. But I don't know. I guess this Bulls team is exciting still. And I still have huge hopes for him. So I don't know, Eric, let's talk. I guess what are we thinking overall? You know, we kind of gave the Bears record prediction. Do we still see them in the play-in? Do we still see them having a winning record? Like, what are we thinking, Eric?
Definitely playing tournament. Definitely 45 wins. Definitely not making it out of the playing tournament. To be honest with you,
No
I think
way.
the East.
I'm with you, Eric. I'm with you.
The East
No
it
way.
just got tougher, man. I mean, the only team that you kind of have a little question about is the Boston Celtics, simply because of what's going on in that organization with the head coach, right? But you still have Tatum and you still have Brown on that team. You still have a decent squad that just went to the NBA Finals. Just putting it out there, right?
We're better than Toronto.
Obviously, you know you have the Cleveland Cavaliers, and what are they going to be? They were a decent team last year, and now you add Donovan Mitchell to the mix. It makes it a lot better, right? Again, you're not better than Boston. You're not better than Philadelphia. You're not better than Brooklyn. You're not better than Miami. I mean, and they got older, so maybe right there. Who else am I missing?
They're better than Toronto.
Cleveland's up to grabs. Cleveland's up for grabs. Toronto's up for grabs.
But did we say the Bucks already?
The Bucks. How could I forget about the Bucks? Right. So that's 7 teams right there. That technically 5, 7 for sure, or 7 possibly. You know, you're in the play-in tournament, and the East got a lot better. It's just it's hard for me. It's hard for me. And CP's right. I think we're better than Miami. Are we? Maybe, possibly. But that team led by Eric Spoelstra,
We're not better
it's
than
not
Miami.
about. It's not. They don't have an all-star
Better than
per se,
Miami.
or a superstar per se on that team. But they have a bunch of players that know how to play the game and have been together as a cohesive unit for
They're
about
deep as
2-3 years.
Yeah.
They're deep as hell.
It's going to be hard. And plus, we even talked about Atlanta, how Atlanta's going to be with the trades that they made over the offseason too as well. Hell, maybe the Pistons might make a jump or two. I don't know. Maybe not. They always play the Bulls tough. The Pacers will probably be the weakest team in the East. Orlando just got a little bit better. It just, you know, the one team that you kind of take a step back is probably Charlotte. It just, and I mean, I'm sorry, I forgot about Washington. Washington will probably be the worst team in the East.
They're probably the worst team in the East.
It's just the teams that are above you or went above you are better than you, and it just comes down to how can you match them up. But you're not going to get over Boston, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Brooklyn. It's just no. Right now, that's the way how I see it. We just got to wait till the season plays out. I normally will give you the best analysis probably like around Christmas, because I think that's the best time where you give a team where you can evaluate a team way better and the amount of games that they have already played.
And Jorginho makes a good point. Injuries play a big factor in the East or West. Again, we kind of go back to Lonzo going down and really only seeing that Bulls core, I guess you could call it, be on the field, I keep saying field, be on the court for a handful of games. So, I mean, yeah, we can, but we can't always rely on injuries, right? We can't always say, oh, this guy's going to get injured. You know what I mean? Like, you always have all-star seasons from a lot of these guys. So, I mean, it's a fair assessment to say that injuries are going to play a factor, but, you know, I think I would almost agree with Eric, but Jose, you obviously don't agree with Eric. What is your, I guess, what's your mindset coming into this season?
Well, they're going to be the highest I see them is like a 6th, 5th seed, and I think, and I'm kind of I'm with Carbs, to be honest. I don't think there's going to be some of those teams that we think are better and we know they're better, or they're going to take a step back. They're either going to take a step back, or injuries they're going to have an injury plagued season. So I could see the Bulls being better than we think this season, or at least one of those teams. It might be Miami, you know what I mean? Because you have some veterans there who are prone to injury. How long was Adebayo out? You know, Kyle Lowry's never playing a full season. Jimmy Butler can get hurt and he's out. You know what I mean? And Eric is right about Boston. Boston is as talented as they are. They're going through something over there. They lost literally their head coach for the entire season. Let's not pretend like that's not a big issue. You know what I mean?
Forgot all about that.
So that's really, you know what I mean? So anything can happen in the East. The one team that scares me obviously is Philadelphia and even Milwaukee, because I just think Embiid and Giannis both are on a different level. But I think everybody else is up for grabs, man. I can see the Bulls being one of those, as long as they stay healthy, guys. Let's just put that out there. As long as they stay healthy, I could see them being consistently in the middle of the pack, like 5th, 6th seed.
For sure. Jack, you looking like you kind of agree, kind of don't agree. What are you thinking for the Bulls this year?
I see it. I think for a team that went to the finals like the Celtics did, losing that head coach is going to be tough. But they could also just throw Brad Stevens in that role.
That's facts.
And just kind of go from there. Miami's definitely better than us. Cleveland, bringing in Donovan Mitchell. We got to see him a few times a year now more. That's concerning. I don't think Detroit's quite yet there at threatening. It'll be interesting to see if Charlotte continues to take steps in the right direction. I don't think they're better than us this year either. But Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Boston, Miami, definitely teams above this Bulls roster at this point in the season. I think you're asking a lot of ifs for this team to stay healthy. The question marks are already surrounding Lonzo. I don't think we'll see Lonzo before January. I'm telling you that right now. Jao, get the hell out of here. Pistons, Cade Cunningham. We'll see him in a few years. But
he's not lying.
Not lying.
Well, I don't know. It should be interesting to see, but I don't know. I have questions. I think, it was great, and I knock on wood to see DeRozan stay healthy throughout the year. I'd like to see Levine play to the numbers that we were expecting. We weren't seeing that quite as much in the preseason like we were expecting. I know Rick and I have talked about that on prior episodes, but I don't know. I get it. I just don't think Drummond and Dragic and Terry are huge improvements for this roster. I don't think that gets them over the hump, and I think they're going to struggle. And unfortunately, I just through the long season and long toll that it takes on players, I think injuries will catch up to this team, and once it does, they're screwed.
And also, I think another big question, because I agree with what you're saying, Jack. Like, there's a lot of questions coming into this year. Are we expecting for DeMar to have the same season he had last year? Like, there's no way we can expect that, right? Like, don't get me wrong, he's still the mid court guy. He's the best. He's the one to perfect that. He's playing that 90s basketball right now, but I don't think we as Bulls fans should expect that. This is kind of why I'm putting a lot on Zach, is because DeMar had an amazing year last year. After all the bullshit that was said, this is the worst pairing with Zach. This isn't going to work. This is going to be the worst signing of the offseason. And then he went out and performed, back to back, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, game-winning threes. And he just put on a clinic for teams sometimes, you know what I mean? And again, in the playoffs, he was the one that they were doubling up on, which made Vooch the one guy to score. So do we expect like anything close to what we saw last year from DeMar?
Yeah, I think we get I think we get something similar. We're not going to get when he was averaging 26, 27 points a game. We're not going to get MVP like DeMar DeRozan, but we're going to get DeMar DeRozan that averages 24, 25. I think that's good enough. I think that's good. I don't see anything wrong with it. You even see him in the preseason. He seemed like he was on a roll.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I could see him definitely picking up where he left off. I don't see it being consistent throughout the entire season.
Eric, what are you thinking? You were shaking your head.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough, guys, because he was playing in a MVP like performance last year. He was in MVP talks, and literally playing to like his best career highs ever in life in basketball last year at that time. So if DeMar is the same player that we got last year, right, and that's a big if, then that's mainly bigger question mark on Zach than it is on DeMar, because we know that DeMar can get his now, and he's been consistently doing since he was with the Chicago Bulls. But that just leads to, what is Zach doing? Then why are you getting paid all this money? And this is why I've always said, like, you don't give this man this money if he's not going to be your number one. And if DeMar is your number one, and then Zach, then that's a problem. That's a big old problem. That's a big old issue. I hope I see the same DeMar DeRozan, sort of similar, but the numbers come down just a bit, and those numbers need to be caught on by Zach LaVine.
Yeah, and Joel agrees with you, man. That's what he's saying. If DeMar has the same output that he did last year, it's because LaVine isn't doing enough. Jack, do we get anything close to DeMar, the MVP from last year and this year?
I hope not. I hope yes, obviously, but like Joe,
It's like a
said,
yes and no, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think you want to see other guys stepping up on this team to produce. That is with the big ifs of if Patrick Williams is what this former front office saw when they picked him, or is it going to really be reliant on LaVine and DeRozan scoring your points with the help of Vucevic and co.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I hope so for both fans' sake. He stayed healthy throughout the year, but this is a big season for LaVine, and he needs to step up and deliver.
No, definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
if we want to have our cake and eat it too, and if we have the same production from DeMar DeRozan, and then we get this enormous production from Zach LaVine, then okay, cool. Then I'm fine with that, right? But
Yeah.
we have to see it from both. Like we have to see it from Zach before we see it from DeMar. And if the roles reversed, I think none of us would have a problem. Then it's just like, all right, money well spent.
Yep.
But then we'll be like, all right, DeMar, you kind of have to pick it up just a tad little bit to help out Zach.
And we know that DeMar can turn it on too. Like I don't want to say at any point, but I think if he feels like, hey, I need to be the one to put the 26, 27, 28 points up this game, then I think I can do that right now. So it's good to have those two there. But we definitely just need these steps up from like Williams, Io, Zach. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting year. I'm very hopeful, but that's just me in general. I was hopeful the Bears were going to be 11-6 this year going into the playoffs. So was Eric, but when it comes to the Bulls, I feel like Eric's the complete opposite. But
now you should have crap. Sorry. You should have seen me last year. Last year, Jose and I, we were hyped. We were probably the only ones on this bandwagon. John was the negative Nancy on the show, talking about like, the Bulls are gonna suck, blah blah blah, this and that. And then Jose, we were just for some reason, Jose and I was like, we were just here, like all we want is rather than see all we want were the Bulls to perform well, make the playoffs, yada yada yada, this and that. And we got that. Well, at least I got that. Jose wanted, all the way to the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. I just said, just give me a playoff series, hell, and be competitive. Yeah. I didn't even get that, but at least they got the playoffs. But we were excited last year, Jose and I, and when they were in first place up until Lonzo's injury, hell, we were riding this train and just like, all right, guys, hop on, This year it just feels different, guys, because of the whole Eastern Conference and how it drastically improved.
Definitely.
Well, I think you were great. I think you're spot on in the sense that people weren't expecting them to jump to that start that they did, and then they did, and then that was exciting. And then it was like, all right, well, what's next with this team? Could they take it to that next level? Unfortunately, they weren't able to stay healthy. We lost Lonzo for the season. LaVine was dealing with his knee issues, and I don't know. And then you come into this year, and I don't mean to be the negative Nancy, but do any of you guys? Anyone in the chats, anyone here, feel confident in this team being able to bring home an NBA Finals championship?
Oh, hell no.
No
hell
way.
No.
Hell
no.
Hell no.
No way whatsoever.
So I'm not going to say, I'm not going to say what the fuck are we talking about, but
yeah,
it's like what window are we in? I guess that's a little bit more direction from the front office, but I don't know.
I know where we're
Again,
I know exactly where we're at. And I don't think you guys want me to say it right now, so I'm just going to keep it in my back pocket.
Say it. No. Now you got to say it. Now you have to say it.
You really want to know where we're at?
I want to know.
Do you honestly want to know, for real?
Absolutely.
We're in basketball hell. We're in basketball hell. We gave a guy who barely cracked the top 30 $200 million. We gave this team hasn't really improved as much. It's basketball hell. You're not going to beat the top echelon teams in the East, let alone the teams in the West. let alone the Golden State Warriors.
Mhm.
We're just here to I guess make Chicago relevant again, but that can only take you so far.
Put it on a
And
hat.
that if that can intrigue bringing in Giannis Antetokounmpo, then this what you're building, or this whatever you're doing is a success because you finally got a superstar to come into Chicago, right?
Mhm.
But you still have to wait for that. And on top of that, if you do want to bring Giannis, do you honestly think you're gonna give him like a low ball offer now that you gave Zach LaVine this amount of money? You know what I mean? It's kind of like
Yeah.
you're banking on possibilities of what ifs for this team to take the next step. And if it doesn't happen, then guess what? You gave a guy who barely cracked the top 30, $200 million, and now you're in basketball hell because you can't compete with the best teams in the
True.
East, and you damn for sure can't compete with the top teams in the West, even though it's only like 3 or 4. It's we're in basketball
true.
hell at the moment, and we're just gonna just take it like it is because we haven't seen good Bulls basketball in about 5-6 years.
So do you think what's happening now, putting us in basketball hell, do you think like what's the timeline? What do you think this gives the Bulls on a timeline as far as like an NBA champ? Is it 5 years? Is it 10 years? Is it past AC? You know, is it past Arturas Karnisovas? What do you think right now?
It's when will the superstar come to Chicago is when the time limit comes, right? Because at this point, it's kind of like the same thing over and over and over again. We're just doing the same thing over and over again. We're building this culture. We're building this. We're doing this. I'm like, okay, cool. Give us a Kevin Durant. Give us a Giannis Antetokounmpo. Give us a Joel Embiid. Give us hell. At this point, I would have taken Donovan Mitchell. Hell, I would have taken somebody of relevancy, somebody in the top 15, top 20, top. If you could get a guy in the top 10, I'm fine with that. But if you don't swing and hit for the fences and giving that and giving this to the team of City of Chicago a chance to even be happy to try to make an NBA Finals, hell, Eastern Conference Finals, not even the NBA Finals, Eastern Conference Finals, that's fine. I will take that in a heartbeat. I don't care who it is, what player, Jokic, like I said, Giannis, KD, anybody, Joel Embiid, anybody. But if you don't do that, then what's the whole point of you doing? We're just doing this just so like people could just come and watch us, and hopefully a future star who's disgruntled or is on his last year on his contract and just swing for the fences on that. Like that's it.
Oh, and I don't want to throw the conversation into that. Oh, what are we watching for? I think Corey in the chat has been pretty spot on. You do have to build that culture, and building a winning culture. You did see as the Bulls are pulling a trick out of kind of the White Sox book of bringing in relatives of these star players. The Sox struck out on Machado, but hopefully bringing in Giannis's brother will help them land Giannis when that day comes. He has actually openly said he likes the city of Chicago, and it could be a possibility. But we'll see. That would be my second point. I think to answer your question about when can this team compete, and it's the same thing. And I know we're not talking baseball, but it's kind of gonna be, and it's what it's looking to be, is when someone else besides Jerry Reinsdorf is in that chairman's office.
We got rid of the Garpax era. Why not get rid of fucking cheap Storf, right? So I can definitely see that, bringing in an owner that is actually going to pay the guys. You know, obviously they paid Zach, but you know, someone of like Giannis' stature, someone of Embiid, like you were saying, KD and all that stuff. So,
but I think that's what paying Zach was supposed to show. Is that, hey, look, we could show that we are paying these guys that quote unquote deserve it. You know what I mean? So it's like whether we all think Zach did or not, like it's at least showing the rest of the league that we are willing to pay players. You know what I mean? And let's get that perception out of here. Now let's focus on building, like TP says, this organization to a winning type of basketball team. It's not going to be a championship level basketball team. That's because we need superstars. That's not going to happen until either A, we draft one, or B, we pay, or B, we have enough cap space to get one. But we need that type of player to even be a free agent in the first place, right? So we got to wait, and hopefully someone like Giannis, whenever he does become available, or Jokic, or just entered play superstar there, right? Hopefully, when they do become available, they look at the Chicago Bulls team like, you know what? They have been a team that's been tough. They have been a team that's been together. They seem like a fun basketball team. They haven't been winning, but that's because they're missing somebody like me to go there and around. You get what I'm saying? Like that's what I think. That's what the game plan is right now for someone like AK, is at least have like the foundation. So all they really need is a superstar or two, but superstars aren't going to want to go there if the team is shit. You know what I mean? So it's like,
yeah, but then you also got to worry about egos. And that's another thing too.
At that point, who cares, man?
Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot. It does take it. It's something that we normally don't talk about, but it's something that we have to take into consideration too, as well. Especially if you give a guy like Zach LaVine $200 million and you bring in Giannis Antetokounmpo, what was originally his team from the start, or just changes into the superstar standards. It's like, all right, guys, and then that's the issue right there.
Doesn't matter. Zach LaVine, if you're Zach LaVine, you know damn well it's Giannis' team at that point.
But is he going to accept that? That's the real. That's $100. That's $1 million question right there.
Well, I guess we're kind of talking about like, hey, if we were to implant Giannis right now, if we were to put him on this Bulls team right now, how would Zach react after getting $200 million? If Zach doesn't, like I said, like if Zach doesn't do what he's supposed to do after getting paid like he did, and a Giannis comes in or an Embiid or something like that, what, like he's got to realize, like, hey, you know what? I have not lived up to the contract. Maybe I do take a step back. Maybe there is an ego, but also winning cures a lot of this. Winning does cure a lot of this ego, a lot of this, hey, what's going on with that team? I think for me, I don't really care. I don't want to say I don't really care, but they're making millions of dollars. I want them to win. I want to see a championship. I want to see another Bulls championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I do too. I mean, last year, all Jose and I were talking about. I mean, I know if it's egos, homie, egos. It's a big thing. It's a big thing in all professional sports, and every player has some. But with that, I mean, all we wanted was relevancy, and then I feel like I should just be Eric of last year and just still hope for relevancy. And then now after the third year of paying this, and now if I do that, Vooch is out of a contract. DeMar DeRozan's in his last year of his contract. Right. You're only 1 year in of the 5-year deal for Zach LaVine. You got to pay, Patrick Williams up in his 4th year. So it's kind of like, it's like the window is kind of like half open, half closed, but like, or 3/4 open or 3/4 closed, depending how your optimism is. Like you can see it either open or closing. That's how I feel where the Chicago Bulls are at right now, because the contracts that they all got are all about to expire. And if you don't bring in fresh faces or do something like that to improve this team, it's kind of like it's those old windows that are open but slowly but surely closing by themselves, simply because the ledges on the side of the window is not holding up that window how it's supposed to be.
I like it. I like that comparison. I like it. And I think one of the biggest things too is like the Bulls have to hit on a draft. They were 1 or 2 picks away from oh my God, what's his name in Minnesota right now? The Timberwolves.
Edwards.
No, not Edwards. Oh, then I'm thinking of the other team that's similar to the Timberwolves, but they're not the Timberwolves. Like same uniform. John Morant. There we go. They were
tropics.
Yeah. they were a couple picks away from John Morant. And they were, a lot of guys were like, the Bulls are going to try to take John Morant. They're going to try to trade up. They didn't. What did it lead to? Kobe White, a guy that we were about to get rid of, this offseason or I'm sorry, last trade deadline. So I think it's really important that the Bears Bulls hit on a draft, and the Bears. But the Bulls, they have to hit on a draft, because those first round draft picks, those top 4 or 5 picks, you see them just absolutely going ham in the NBA. CP 2 picks away. Like, it's just it sucks. They can't hit on a draft to save their lives, I think.
It's the curse of Derrick Rose.
Hey, you remember when they took was it Marcus Teague over and then they could have got Draymond Green?
Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Exactly.
God.
And that's
Yeah.
because
Jeez.
it was the first year out of Derrick Rose's ACL injury. We needed a point guard.
True.
Tom Thibodeau wanted Draymond Green on that squad, and
Mm.
everybody else said, "Nah, we got Marcus T." And it's just kind of like it's stuff like that, you know. It's stuff like that.
It reminds me of when the Bears picked Mitch Trubisky instead of Deshaun Watson or Pat
Exactly.
Mahomes. When John Fox, the coach of the Bears at the time, was like, "Hey, let's get Deshaun Watson," and instead what they do, let's go Mitch Trubisky. So it's just one of those what ifs, man. They have to hit on the draft, and they're obviously not doing that. So I think that's also a big factor for the Bulls, just going forward too. You know, Dalen Terry. Hopefully he does work out. Hopefully he's not a Kobe White, more of a next level, more explosive IO. So we'll see how it pans out. Do you guys have anything else for the Bulls for the C Red segment right now?
No,
Bulls
sir.
the season 0-1.
Oh God. All right. Let's move on now to Hawks talk. Blackhawks start their season a couple days ago. They're already about what, 3 games in, Jack?
Yep, about 3 in. Home opener Friday night in Chicago. About 6 days rest between their last game in San Jose, a positive one to kind of finish off the road trip to start the season, going 5-2 in San Jose. A good performance from Sam Lafferty, especially on the penalty kill, scoring 2 shorthanded goals. Recent pickup, Jake Dixon, I think I'm saying that right. Picked up from waivers this week. Stepped into the lineup and delivered, I think, 2 or 3 points. So it was a really solid outing from Dickinson. And then you saw Tyler Johnson. He was starting to lay his body out. The team was too many thoughts going through my mind.
Too many negative thoughts, or what are we thinking right now?
Oh, absolutely negative. Absolutely negative. I mean, count your wins as cherish them, because it's going to become a really rarity with this team. As you saw in Colorado. Colorado, stronger, faster, much more skilled team, came out and exerted their will for 60 minutes. Just happened to be the banner raising ceremony night for Colorado. So tough situation to kind of walk in there. Then again, you just know Stanley Cup champions. They're the king of that of the Central Division, and they're going to kind of rule over the Blackhawks for the foreseeable future. Then they walked into Vegas, and Vegas actually was an interesting game because they were outplayed, they were outshot. Some decent performance in net from, I believe, Peter Mrazek was able to keep this game close, and they lost it 1-0. So that's a team that is better. Vegas has kind of gone in the downward trend, losing Leonard, obviously, after the Hawks traded him to another surgery. And then also losing some guys to cap penalties and other issues, but they do have a healthy Jack Eichel, so it's an exciting thing for Vegas fans to be excited about. But yeah, not much scoring from the Hawks there, losing that 1-0. Hawks would muster up 27 saves, and I was wrong. Alex Stalock would get the start for those Hawks that game, stopping 36 of 37 faced. So an impressive performance from Stalock. It does look like Mrazek will be the starter, with Stalock getting a good amount of appearances. It could end up that poor performance would end up with these two splitting time between the pipes. But yeah, I mean, the big positive note, the San Jose game, Hawks did jump down 2-0 in that one early before responding in the second, scoring 3, and then 2 in the third. Jonathan Toews coming out a little bit hotter than usual, scoring 2 quick ones to start the season. Like I said, a very impressive performance from Sam Lafferty, who this team actually traded for in the middle of the season last year, and has found a new home here in Chicago. Hopefully, Dickinson, a guy who was put on waivers, I believe, by Vancouver, also looking to find and establish a new home here in Chicago. In terms of the quick Kane and Toews updates, it does sound like, after reading some stuff on Twitter and from Pierre LeBrun of The Athletic, that Kane and Toews will sit down with Davidson closer to the December-January mark and kind of hash out their future from there. Expectations would still be that they will not be on this team come the deadline. And yeah, I mean, like I said, take your wins as with as much hope as you can. Take them as much excitement as you can. Hopefully they'll put up a good performance versus Detroit, but Detroit's come out of the gate looking decent. They did lose tonight in overtime, but Detroit has taken some steps in front of them. I would expect Detroit actually to take this one at the home ice at the United Center, unfortunately, but we'll see. We'll see. I think if you could keep yourselves around 15 games under 500, I would tell you that would be the expectation.
Come
Vegas,
on.
Vegas.
Come
No,
on. He's not.
No.
He's just no.
No. I say no. This team sucks. It's flat out. I mean, it's unfortunate what it is. It's the shape of what the organization is in. You can excel the process of the rebuild with hopefully bringing back nice rewards for Kane definitely, and we'll see what Taves brings in at this point. But no, there's nothing to be confident in this franchise. I mean, you've seen Lucas Reichel 3 years ago was the first round pick.
Yeah,
he's in the minors, starting off the year in the minors. Third year, you would hope to see him take a step and make that opening day lineup. He did not. Some of the picks from this last year's draft are looking good. Most of them are still in college, though, so you're not going to see that impact for a long time. So, truth be told, it's going to be a long time before the Blackhawks are successful.
I was going to say there was a lot of hope on Reichel, and I do want to ask, do you see a guy like Lafferty, some guy who we got on the trade deadline last year? Do you see him kind of moving forward as a long-term guy on the Hawks, or is this more of hey, he's going to play his contract out and that's it?
I think if you could see him step in to produce kind of similar to what Hagel was for this team last year, that'd be a huge win, especially being a guy that like I said, I think they traded for him in the middle of the year for pretty much no one, but otherwise they picked him off waivers. So it's a win or loss. It's a win situation for Kyle Davidson. It's already paying off. He's been a great Blackhawk since he stepped into the role. He was scoring and producing, and he works his tail off. So it's a type of guy that you'd love to build your team around. I don't think it's someone that is going to score you 30, 40 goals and produce, 80, 90 points a season for you. But it's a guy that could give you someone. Who's up north in Ottawa. We'll see what happens there. But, I think, like I said, you got to hope that they are able to capitalize on what the future of Patrick Kane is. And, they already do have, I believe, 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks for next year's draft. That is steps in the right direction. It is a much stronger draft, like I've talked about. But, yeah, I mean, it's bleak. It's very bleak.
Not much hope on the Hawks end. Go ahead, Jose.
I would say, if as far as what I'm there is a little bit of optimism. I guess only to point out that they at least picked the lane. You know what I mean? How many years?
Yeah.
Taves and Kane, and they were going back and forth trying to rebuild, but we knew we weren't good enough. But at least now we know. Hey, we know what they're doing. This is a rebuild, right? Full on rebuild. Credit to the fact that they came out with 3 draft picks going into with none. You know what I mean? And like Jack said, what we're going to do with Taves and Kane right before the trade deadline. Let's just hope they could put up, some numbers here so that way we can get a lot more back in return. You know what I mean? And that's the bittersweet thing about seeing, when Taves, I was following, he's scoring early. This is good, right? But at the same time, it's damn, but this is also, because we're going to be trading him soon. So this, let's hope he puts up something to showcase here. And I guess it sucks because, you look back to the glory days, and those guys were everything. But that time is now gone. So hopefully Taves and Kane can both put up some numbers, man, so that way we can get something back that can help speed up this process. Because you're right, if not, it's going to be a long rebuild.
Yep. No, it is like you said. There's finally transparency within the organization. They're telling the fans what they want to hear, and it unfortunately may not be exactly what you really want to hear, but in reality, what direction this team is heading in. I don't know. I do think, if you wanted to revisit it, and they didn't want to end up paying DeBrincat when it came to the offseason, and then they ended up moving on from him. That was a situation you could have worked yourself around potentially. And yes, it would have locked yourself in with some money, and in a league that, money is as tight as it gets. It would be a questionable decision. But when you really only have $9.5 million tied up to Seth Jones for this foreseeable future, it's a deal the team could have done. And it also would have maybe shortened that rebuild from 5 to 3 years. So I don't know. It is what it is. You can't hold your head on the past at this point. But I do agree with you. You are finally starting to see them be a little bit more clear with the fan base, telling them what direction we're heading in. Should be interesting. I mean, does Kyle Davidson get 5 years? Does Richards, the coach, get 5 years? I doubt it.
Yeah.
At least on the coaching end, I would be surprised if the Chicago media wouldn't eat up Davidson by year 4 or 5, especially if this team is still in the bottom of the barrel. I mean, it goes Arizona, Chicago. Those are what Vegas have picked as, kind of who's finishing in the cellar of this league.
Jesus.
Yep, it's a different reality. But lastly,
I don't want to be anywhere near Arizona.
Yeah. But kind of to what you said on the Bears breakdown. I mean, we haven't seen a championship in our lifetime. At least Jose and I know that. We've been spoiled. We have been spoiled. We got to understand that 2015, as long as it may seem and feel, we did just come off, a pretty nasty dynasty. So it sucks. It's painful. It's going to keep Hawks talk a little quieter on this year's winter session of Big League Chicago. But I don't know. We'll find ways to give you guys your NHL content for any of you that so much seek it.
I was gonna say, I think like you guys were saying, the Hawks are the only one with a clear direction of what the plan is, and I don't know, man. I think they might surprise us a little bit. I feel like we're so much higher on the Bulls than the Hawks. Jack's like, no, fuck that.
Nope.
No.
Nope. I love the positivity. I love the optimism.
But they went on a nice little stretch there for a bit after they fired. God, I forget his name already.
Colleton. Oh, because he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. So hopefully they can at least give us a nice little stretch like they did after they fired Colleton. But we'll see. You guys got anything else on the Hawks for Hawks talk? I think that sounds as a no.
No.
You don't want to know about what I think about the Hawks.
Eric, this is the one time I'll allow you to say it because I don't think Jack is ready for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
right.
no. See, the NHL is the only league that I know that they rank teams on preseason. Like they have an 82 game preseason schedule, and then all of a sudden, like 16 hard, grueling 20 some odd games for their regular season. It's just it's weird. It's weird. Hockey's the only sport that does that. So
Look at Jack.
I don't agree with him, Jack. I don't agree
it is
with
what it is, guys. This is the longest preseason of my life of a team.
Oh no!
I won't engage.
Oh no! Jack's gonna.
What's the hardest trophy in sports to win, in your opinion?
The World Cup. That's the hardest one.
Jack,
you only play it 4 times out of the year.
He's gonna bring up soccer, so
that's fine. I know.
It only comes every 4 years. You only play 3 guaranteed games, and then the playoff round is just a grueling matchup on top of that. After that, it comes baseball because you have to play 162 games in one season, and then plus you have to try to win 16 postseason games in order for you to win. Or not 16 now because they switched it up. Now you have to win the playoff series in the wild card, then a divisional game, and then the Champions League series, and then the championship series, and then the World Series on top of that. So then it goes baseball after that.
You can't argue with the logic though.
No,
your math is off. Your math is off. Your math is off.
Whatever it is, look, the wild card was actually for the first time a 3-game series this year.
Look, we're not math guys, okay?
Then you play a 5-game series for the NLDS, and then you're playing a 7-game series for the NLCS. Plus, you have to play another 7-game series to win the World Series after you play 162 games in the regular season from April, whenever it starts, March, April, all the way down to November, and that's your whole entire season. So you cannot tell me that baseball is the hardest North American league to win a championship series. Like, you can't tell me that. Basketball and hockey are about the same. They play 82 games throughout the whole entire season, throughout the winter times, and then you play a series after making the playoffs. When you make the playoffs, so it's like,
I don't know. I mean, I think you look at it, 16 games in the NHL, and you can fact check me after this, is more than the NFL, more than the MLB, as it is 2, 3, 4 to win a World Series in the MLB playoffs. It is, what is it, 3, 7 or 3, 4, 4 in the NBA, and then 4, 4, 4 in the NHL. Go win 4 games 3 times, 16 games. Go win that with the body contact, with the endurance. It's just, I know we won't agree with this, and I've got a pizza in the oven, so I'm not going to spend my whole night on this topic. And I haven't eaten dinner, so I'm freaking hungry. But
you'll catch Jack on this argument when in the middle of the Hawks season, when he is just absolutely frustrated with them.
I'm sorry, but
I see where your opinion is.
They do. And the World Cup is the hardest.
He doesn't appreciate hockey. That's all it is. He doesn't appreciate hockey.
No, that's
I'm the biggest bandwagoner when it comes to hockey, and I'm not afraid to admit that. Okay, when the Hawks won in 2010 and then the 3 championships, I was at those rallies like I was the biggest Hawks fan in the whole entire world, and I can only name you like 5 players.
I respect.
Now it's just kind of like, okay,
you know, I understand. I respect it, and I know. I know. I'm not. You know,
he can't even argue. He can't even be mad at you.
I'm just not. I'm not putting myself in the position to say some things I might regret.
4 stars of the week. Let's go.
I was gonna say let's end this on a positive note. 4 stars of the week brought to you by Old Style. Probably, hopefully, one day we'll see. Old Style, if you're listening, reach out, bring us some beer. We'll just
every single time we put this up on social media, we're gonna tag Old Style.
That's a good one. I love that one.
We'll do a waterfall of Old Style as everyone goes to their 4 stars if you want Old Style.
But I'm down.
Let's start off. So basically 4 stars, just to kind of give you guys, just to kind of tell you guys what it is, right? 4 stars, we pick an athlete from Chicago, a team from Chicago, a fan base, a person that made an impact on Chicago sports this past week. So that's kind of how we're gonna go. We're gonna go around the virtual studio here. I'll start it off first, and I think this is kind of an easy one, but the first star of the 4 stars of the week, I think, has to go to Justin Fields. His toughness against that Washington Commanders team was on display. He was getting sacked left and right. He was running the ball. He was trying to make some throws. Obviously, again, he missed Griffin, but he gave it to he threw it downfield to Pettis. That was the only score of the game. Let's remember that, right? And it just sucks that all the things we've mentioned before at the beginning of the show, his O-line was just rough. So my first star of the game goes to Justin Fields. I just think the toughness and me thinking that he is now the guy after that game. First star goes to him. So yeah, I'm gonna go Justin Fields. Jack, do you want to go next?
If there was more going on in Chicago sports, I'd rip you for the pick, just from the fact that 12 points is just not enough. But because there isn't as much going on in the world in Chicago sports, I like it. I understand it.
You'll allow it.
I'll allow it. As I talked about, and as it's again another depressing topic to go back to, Sam Lafferty of the Blackhawks, impressive performance in San Jose, scoring 3 points. 2 of those goals being shorthanded, so when the Blackhawks were on the penalty kill, and then receiving an assist. So very impressive performance from the forward, Sam Lafferty, with the bald, shiny head.
I'll go next, Rick, and I'm gonna go. I'm glad he said Sam Lafferty, because I was gonna say Jonathan Taves. 2 goals, shots, nice. seven shots on goals, and out of those 7, he scored 2. That gives me. I feel good. I feel good.
There we go. There's a positivity.
It's the captain, and and you see him 2 games, 3 games in, and they're doing this. Okay, good. I like to see it. You know what I mean? we're not going to have him much longer on the team or in Chicago. You know, it's sad to say he's always going to be forever in our hearts for the championships he helped bring. So it's good to see that he's still at least producing numbers, producing goals for our team, and that's my star, at least for now. You know, until I can't say no more. One of the stars goes
16 years.
Exactly.
16 years.
Right?
16 years. 16 years. All right, Eric, finish us off with the 4th star of the week.
Well, my 4th star of the week, I like to go off the walls a little bit, right? It's something that we normally don't talk about, but I like to give a shout out to the Chicago Red Stars. They actually kept the Chicago soccer relevant in the last couple of years of making the playoffs. And unfortunately, you know, they ended up losing to the San Diego Wave in the playoffs, in the quarterfinals this past weekend. But shout out to them. They've kept Chicago soccer relevant. They've actually been pretty good. The injuries got them all out this year. And you know, it's a positive start. This team is going to be good, competitive next year once all their healthy players come back. But yeah, Red Stars, let's go.
Let's go. All right, well, that was the 4 stars of the week, brought to you by Old Style. Hopefully one day we'll just get drunk off Old Style while we bring you this segment.
Not Old Style.
There you go.
Anything but Old Style.
I had to pick the most Chicago beer. I had to.
You could have gone with Malort.
Oh
No,
God,
fuck that.
absolutely
Fuck
not. Oh,
No, thank you.
that's a Chicago handshake. Did you know that you drink an Old Style and you take a shot of Malort?
Yeah.
And
I
then
didn't know that was
you'll be
Chicago
perfectly fine the next morning, like nothing
Yeah,
happened.
you'll be fine. It's not disgusting or anything. You
It's
won't throw
not
up.
disgusting at all. Side note about Malort, real funny too. So I went to a party, and this is me like a couple weeks fresh off of COVID. All right, like I was okay to go out, whatnot, and stuff
Yeah.
like that, but I lost my taste. So I felt big and bad, like, yeah, let me take a shot of Malort. Didn't taste a single thing. Best experience of my life.
No way. I thought you were gonna say that thing brought my taste back. I was like,
Oh,
look
no,
at that,
it didn't.
Malort.
It really
During
didn't.
COVID.
It really did not. No, it was
That's-
easy. I could just got drunk off of drinking stuff, and you know, didn't feel a thing except for tequila. I actually felt like the rubbing alcohol on that part, so that's kind of weird.
yeah. I could see that. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us on the live stream. If you're watching us and listening to us on the live stream, thank you guys for commenting on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch.
Yes.
You can find us on Instagram as well. All of us at Star 6 Media.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you guys. We just appreciate it. This is the first episode with the new layout. You see the cool layout here on the stream. We got Jose, we got Eric. Hopefully we'll get John, but he was in the comments, so he still very much contributed to the conversation, poking fun at Eric and Jose and pretty much all of us. So we're gonna keep bringing you all this great Big League Chicago content on Mondays for the live streams, and then that'll be converted into a podcast released on Tuesdays, just in case you miss a live stream tonight. Yeah, boys, thank you for joining me, and thank you guys all again for all commenting on the live stream. You guys got any last words before the end of this Big League Chicago episode 54, by the way, Urlacher episode? So any last words for the Urlacher episode?
Eric, you're a clown. Jose, love you. Rick, it's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
I gotta go eat some fucking pizza.
All right,
you'll get used to it, man. Trust me, you'll get used to it.
I love it. I love it. Great first episode. I love it. All right,
Just
everybody.
let you boys know that we are on top of the league. We are top of the league. We are top of the league.
All right,
We are top of the league. We are top of the league.
Arsenal. Let's talk about Arsenal.
are
End it.
top
End
of
it.
the
End
league.
it.
We are top
End
of the
it.
league.
End it. End it. End it. End it.